Welcome to Ask the Expert, an award-winning daily series from 8:30 to 9 a.m. to help small businesses. If you have any questions, please do ask them in the comments of the live feed. If you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. Now, during the live session, we'll be running a poll, so please do engage with it and I'll reveal the results at the end. So, I'm Anne-Marrie Martin, and I'm the founder and franchisor of Diddi Dance. So we run toddler dance classes. I started the business 18 years ago. I was a professional dancer, and I'd been teaching all different ages all that time. And I worked in a play centre as well, and a lot of the adults there asked me about energetic, lively dance classes for their toddlers. So I started a class and it was popular, started another. And then I thought, I think there's a niche in the market here. So I decided to look at expansion. So before I had the visions of going nationwide, I thought, right, what I need to do is test this model. So I decided to test different areas of where I lived in London, and they all worked. But I needed to take myself out of the equation and see if the model itself could stand up. So I then took on some teachers and trained them up and tested that model all across London to see if it would work, and it would. So then I thought, right, how can I look at expanding this across the country so that Diddi Dance could build as a brand and that people could get exactly the same experience to what I'd built anywhere in the country. And that's when I came across franchising. So I think to start with today, it's about what franchising is and all the misconceptions around it. Because as today's title is, franchising is the core of creating small business owners that definitely contribute to their local community. So there's a misconception that franchising is big, faceless, global corporations that just set something up and sell loads of things and just take all the money. But actually, what it is, it's about a business concept that works and then offering that business opportunity to others to create their own business in their exclusive community that they can then build upon and create a livelihood from. So you are really at the core of that community as a business owner, but you're not by yourself. So you are there getting all the guidance, all the training, all the support as you need, everything from social media to financials, everything that you need, all the IT support is there, that you can grow this business, but it's still your own business. So the support, you're not by yourself. This business is for yourself, but you have that network around you for that support to really help you focus then on that community. And for us at Diddi Dance, that is exactly what we are, because we're a service-based business. So I think franchising for a service-based business is great, because that core person in that local community needs to be the face of that business, and they engage with that local community. So for us, teaching toddlers, and it's parents, well, adults and toddlers in the class together, that sense of community and social interaction is what really, really brings it together. You are really getting everybody together and getting to know everyone and really building that service as the heart of that local community. So it really is about that business offering that person then gets to be able to build it as big as they want to in their local area. So we've obviously been through the year that we've been through. We have come through and starting to come out of the pandemic now. And I think this is where, as restrictions start to lift, you see the power of community even more. So we were all forced to go online last March and deliver our sessions as best as we could to our customers. We were passionate about being able to keep children active and having fun and trying to keep a level of routine while staying safe at home. So we went online and we're delivering the classes there, trying to keep that engagement with our community, keep that communication with our families. And then as we came out of that the first time, really working on that point to keep that community feel and just keep the families speaking and feel that sense of togetherness. So then as we went back into lockdown again, it was about trying to keep everybody communicating, keep supporting. And that again is where a franchise network really comes into its own. As a single business owner trying to deliver a service nationwide as a sole person, it's very hard to keep that engagement with all local areas. And that is where a franchisee really does that in the best way. They are in the heart of that area, physically and online. And so coming out of that, it really is that you feel that sense of community again. We're all starting to socialise again. We are all starting to come together at a safe distance and really bring that community back together. And that's been more important than ever with a service-based business, and the franchisees have been the same, because you're seeing everybody starting to socialise again and really bringing that community together again. But also it's realised that our role, myself as the franchisor and the head office team, of how much we help them build their communities as well, because we've had to come together and a two-way street with the franchisees of coming to really work together on figuring out guidance on what is the right way to do things, how do we have to do it safely. And sometimes as a single business owner, that can be a real minefield anyway, running a business, but even more so when you're struck with a pandemic that we've never experienced before and can have never have prepared for either. So again, being part of a franchise network is really where you can come together in its own community and really build that knowledge, that guidance, that support, so that the franchisees can then feel confident enough to really bring that into their local community then, to really make sure that they are delivering what they've been trying to do, which is teach toddlers the joy of moving to music, give them a great positive start in physical activity. And they can focus on that because us at head office are doing all the background work and making them more confident or giving them the tools that they need to really be able to focus on delivering the sessions. So I believe that franchising is really the heart of it, because you really are offering a local person a business opportunity that can flourish, because a lot of that work is done for them and then they can go and deliver that in their exclusive area. So that's just to quickly summarize and try and just briefly get over why I think franchising is such a great model if you do want to be the heart of your local community. So we're going to move on to some questions, which is fantastic. So let's think about what we've got here and hopefully I can give you some great answers. So thank you to Jason on Twitter. When it comes to recruiting new businesses to join your franchise, what are the main attributes you're looking for? Brilliant question. So every business and every industry is going to be different. For us, because we're working with under fives, that is quite a niche skill to have. So when I first started the business, it was always about taking on experienced or qualified dance teachers. And then I realised that for us, it was actually about finding the right person to engage with this age group. So actually, because we're not teaching technique and alignment and all the technical things, that's what they do when they leave us and are older. We really look for motivated, ambitious, driven people that have got the right personality to engage with customers and toddlers as well. But I think every business will be looking for different attributes in their franchisees. Eric on Facebook Messenger, thank you for your question. I run a gardening company that does a lot of community regeneration. I keep getting potential clients in other towns that would take too long for us to travel to. So I'm thinking about franchising. How do I know if it's right for my business and what should I be doing first? Brilliant question. And this could take up another half an hour, but I would always suggest going to a franchise consultant. What you want is you want an expert that has worked in franchising for a long time, or speak to some other franchisors about your business model. They need to look at your figures and see what geographic area you're running in and what the figures are based on that. And then can that be replicated in another area so that a franchisee could run that business, but run it profitably whilst also providing the franchisor yourself with royalties. So it always needs to be assessed with what's called a feasibility study. And I would always recommend getting an expert to do that for you, because every business is different. Just because one gardening company is successfully franchising, you might have a slightly different setup. So it might mean that your model might work better on more of a service-based head office, and you recruit gardeners that have got the qualifications, or it might be a licensed option. So there's lots of many ways that you can go around expansion. But I think speaking to an expert or speaking to some other franchisors and just getting a feel for it, and also assessing, it's a bit hard, look in the mirror and assess yourself. Do I have the right attributes to be a franchisor? Can I invest my time into leading others and supporting them and making sure I can help them grow their businesses as well? But I think assess where you are, what your figures are, and then decide, can that be replicated and they can make profitability? And also check your business name and trademarks. That's a massive thing if you want to franchise. So I hope there's a few starting points there for you. Yusuf on Twitter, thank you for your question. Are there ever times where you have to say no to a franchisee? If so, how do you go about resolving the situation? Oh, all the time. And I think as an ethical franchisor, you have to be able to say no, because it's not saying that that person isn't worthy of your franchise. It's about ethically saying, do you know what? I think this would be a disservice for me and unethical of me to sell you a franchise, because we shouldn't just be selling franchises. This isn't about making money. It isn't. It's about offering that person and awarding that person a business opportunity that you truly believe is right for them. So, excuse me, whenever we've turned someone down or said to someone, I think you're brilliant, but I wonder whether your passion maybe lies elsewhere. And so maybe a franchise in a different industry would maybe be more suited. It's about finding what someone's passion is. And if it isn't working with toddlers or parents, then this isn't the right business opportunity for them. We know as any business owner, you have to be passionate about what you do. And if your heart isn't in it, you're not going to be as driven and motivated to make it a success. So when you do a franchise recruitment process, you really have to get to the heart of that person and find out what makes them tick, so that you can know confidently that they have a really brilliant chance of making that a success. And any franchises that tend to not be successful is because maybe it's been a bit more of a rushed decision. So it's just being open and honest and saying, this isn't about you not being good enough. It's about maybe our opportunity isn't right for you, but have you thought about maybe this opportunity? So as an ethical franchisor, you should always be willing to not just take everybody into the network. You have to pick who's right for the brand and also pick what you feel is right for that person. And two-way situation. We are always discussing with potential franchisees. Take your time, do your business plan, do your market research, make sure that this is the right business for you, because most franchise agreements are 5 years long. So you want them to make sure they're making the right decision as well. So hope that helps. Sinead on Facebook Messenger. During the times we've all had recently, I can imagine making an impact within the local community can be hard. Do you have 2 to 3 ways business can approach making a meaningful difference, but in a COVID secure way? Oh, that's quite deep. Let's have a think here. It can be hard, but I think, like I said at the start, when you run a service based business, you always, and just like I said about your passion, if you can always make sure that that passion carries on, that you are always coming back to the core of why you started that business or why you took on that franchise, that has to be your motivation for delivering that. So our franchisees, the heart of their business is getting toddlers physically active and moving, and the joy of dancing to music and all of that, because it's not just great for physical health, it's great for mental health. So moving to music and releasing all those endorphins and serotonin and oxytocin, that's the core of why they do this. So bringing it back to the core is how you're then hopefully making a meaningful difference, because we're coming out of this and we are reopening, following guidance, keeping socially distanced, everybody having their individual props and not sharing resources and all of this. We're doing it in the COVID secure way, but still having them come back into that face-to-face atmosphere and situation, but making that meaningful difference again. It's definitely you coming back to that, why it's such a rewarding business to do. So I hope that helps. Maddie on Twitter. I'm self-employed and find my work often bleeds into my life outside of the job. What's your advice for balancing work, family life outside of that? I'm not sure you've asked the right person here. No, it's human nature. That is a natural thing. And some people's jobs leak into social life as well. Not everybody can close the computer down at 5 p.m, come home and switch off to it completely. So I think it's human nature for everybody, but definitely when you run your own business or are self-employed, that is going to seep in a lot more. I think and everybody moans about, devices nowadays, but I think in this last year, especially, we've realised how important they are for helping us work remotely, for helping us keeping businesses going. Whereas 10, 15 years ago, 18 years ago, when I started the business, it probably wouldn't have been able to survive a pandemic. It's about, I keep everything on my phone, keep everything on the go as I go. Whereas before it would be, right, I finished teaching for the day. Now I need to get home. I need to put the laptop on. I need to do hours of admin. I can do that on the go now. So I think it's about managing your time, some people use coloured calendars of time slots and even slotting in that time of, this is family time, this is watching TV time, this is cleaning the kitchen time. Some people prefer to schedule it. So it's whatever works for you as well, and really making sure you can balance that so that if you need to schedule in some quiet time. I try and balance out, now that we can again, getting a haircut, getting a facial, things that allow me to switch off. Because when I allow myself to switch off, I find that I'm actually more productive, and making sure when I've done the school run and we are at home, that is time for that. But should something ping up, it's on my phone and I can just quickly deal with it rather than having to open up the laptop, go into an office and deal with it. So keeping things on the go and keeping things flexible. Maisie on Instagram, thank you for your question. What processes and procedures do you have in place to ensure quality and standards are met across all your franchisees? Brilliant question. And I think this is the power of franchising, because that is exactly what the core of it is, that somebody's come up with a business concept, they've proven it's worked, they have done all the hard work of all the branding, all the social media guidelines, all the IT, we've got albums of original music, all the lesson plans, and then you make sure your training is solid so that the franchisees are going out there and starting with the best possible way they can. And I think as a franchise, that training is a lot lengthier than sometimes other business models. And I think it's about ongoing support and guidance. So all of our templates, everything is done for the franchisees so that everything should be on brand, because you're not just going, oh, well, there's an idea. Here's your template, just type in your own details, and making sure that then everything is definitely kept on brand. We do quality checks. We use an accreditation system. So we're fully accredited by the Children's Activities Association, meaning that what we deliver is appropriate and of the right quality to work with this age group. And then we use that process as well to quality check the franchisees as well. But it's about creating a network of openness, of honesty, and a two-way communication, so that everything you're doing, they know that it's to support them. It's not to check up on them and be all harsh on them. It's to support them. And then you get great communication and keeping that everything is on brand. And with everything being online now, it's very easy to see if a post isn't quite right. We have a social media person that checks all of that for them as well. So just giving them the right support and guidance as we go, really. Moving on to Serena on Facebook Messenger. It sounds amazing how you can build a sense of community within your franchise and across their businesses. How often do you communicate with them all? And do you get to meet up and share knowledge? Great question. So very different to how it was pre-COVID. So I would always do a face-to-face visit with them after their first term of opening, check how the classes are, have a sit down chat with them, and we would always have a 2-day conference once a year. We would have monthly webinars, and so everything is now remotely, and so regular communication. We've kept all the webinars going, and even though, last year we couldn't do the physical 2-day conference, we still did something on Zoom and still did internal awards and still did something just to try and keep them motivated and keep them inspired, as it were. So we have a team, and we have business coaches within that team that do regular one-to-one check-ins with them. We do Facebook Lives in our private Facebook group. We do webinars. We do Zoom calls. So it's just about keeping the network together where they can all share knowledge and best practice as well, and keep that regular communication. And I think that is what the pandemic has shown us, that with all the online tools we have now, you can still keep that sense of community within your network and keep that communication up as well. Sarah on Instagram. Love the positivity you're spreading through dance with little ones and their families. Thank you. Have you found it hard to maintain things like social distancing with kids? Yes. It's hard with this age group because they don't always understand everything, but we have the adults in the classes with us. And with the guidance, we can do as much as we can do. So in dance, we actually work at 3-meter distancing, because you have to work at a minimum of 2 meters. And especially with this age group, they don't all move the same way. So you've got them moving all over the place. But it's about adapting the lesson plans to make it as static as possible in their spaces, to keep them as engaged as possible. It's about bringing the grown-ups even more into the lesson plan. So there's a lot more partnering work with their grown-up. There's a lot more engagement with their grown-up, which is actually a lovely thing. So whereas before, and it was lovely still, they would come forward more and the adults would be a bit more held back, and it was about them developing more of a independence in the class. It's actually quite nice seeing such a bonding time between grown-up and child in the class, because of more partnering, because we can't do a big circle dance, we can't do a big long conga line at the moment for salsa. They do it just with the parent and child. So bringing in things like that to keep them engaged, keep them laughing, but because it's just with their grown-up, it keeps them in their socially distanced space. Things like that help, but you just have to try and be as relaxed as possible with that as well, and understand the nature of toddlers, and just follow all the procedures as much as you can with the hand sanitizing and keeping all their props separately, making sure they're thoroughly sterilised and things like that. So we do as much as we can, definitely. Let me check where we are. Jules on Twitter, thank you for your question. Was it quite an easy shift growing your franchise, or did it take a lot of time to expand to the level you now have a Diddi Nuts? Well, actually, I've been going 18 years since the first class, franchising for 15. And I think it organically grew at the beginning. I looked at what's called pilot franchising to start. So I took on a few franchisees that were ex-dancer friends of mine, and they helped me figure out the franchise concept and how we would go about me becoming a franchisor and how it developed across the country. And then I became pregnant with my first child. So actually, from concept of pilot franchising into fully franchising actually took 3 years, 4 years. So I went into pilot franchise in 2006, and actually we then awarded a lot more franchises in 2010. That grew quite quickly then in the first couple of years, and then it sort of plateaus out, and you get peaks and troughs, and sometimes through a recession or when the economy downturns and people lose their jobs. Sometimes they look at business opportunities for themselves, so that can always have a bit more of a spike there into other things as well. So I think every franchise network grows at its own pace, but I think if you keep your ethics pure and make sure you don't rush into things and run before you can walk, and make sure you don't just, oh, quick, I'm going to sell loads of them because I want the money in, and make sure you pick the right people and make sure that they are right for your brand as well, then it will organically grow how it should. So I hope that helps there. So I think we just got time for one last question. Jade on Facebook Messenger, you end up in my TikTok feed from time to time. Obviously, there's a connection between your product and a lot of the dance challenges there, but do you think TikTok can benefit other businesses? And if so, how? Amazing. Thank you for the question. And we will keep this the last one because I could talk about this for days. I think for our brand, TikTok has been amazing because you can really showcase through the humour and through the dance trends exactly what we do at Diddi Dance. So a lot of my TikToks are about toddlers and the funny things that they do, and that, you know, is very engaging. I just think it gives you an opportunity to really showcase really what you do that images can't always portray, or the more serious side of the business. You can't always get across the fun nature of it. So TikTok has been a platform for us that has really grown the brand. To be at over 50,000 followers it's been amazing in less than a year. And so I personally think it's a great platform to grow the business, but it depends on the industry that you're in, and obviously however much effort and time you can put into growing it on a platform, because like every social media platform, consistency is the key there. So yeah, thank you. I hope that helps. Okay, so we're going to move on to the poll results. So we asked you, as restrictions have now eased, are you optimistic about your business growth? Oh, this is so interesting. And I wonder whether the answers would have been completely different had it been asked last week. No, 0% of you said yes, and 100% of you said no, you're not optimistic about business growth. It feels so pessimistic. But I wonder whether that's because of the latest press conference, and because the new variant and this June date now being in question. I do wonder, had we asked this last week, everybody might have, I definitely felt very optimistic last week. We're going for June, we can do our parties again, we can do big events again, and it's going to be great. And then since, Friday, we're now all feeling a little bit nervous again and worried about all of that. So really interesting poll there. 100% no. Well, hopefully we can have some optimism coming soon, and get on that growth again. Fingers crossed. Oh, so thank you all for tuning in this morning. If you want to get in contact with me, you can send me an email. I'm on info@diddidance.com. That's DIDDI. You can also follow us on Instagram. I'm Original Diddy Dancer. And on TikTok, the same, Original Diddy Dancer. So coming up on Ask the Expert tomorrow is Simon Squibb. He's the founder and chief purposeful officer at the Purposeful Project. He's an entrepreneur, angel investor, mentor, and podcast host. Tune in to find out how luck really works and how you can cultivate it to improve your business. And finally, a reminder that if you need any more advice, join the official Intuit QuickBooks SMB community group on Facebook. Accountants and business experts are on hand 24/7. I've really enjoyed answering your questions this morning, so thank you so much for joining, and I hope you all have a great day. Thanks a lot. Bye.